Okay, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to our channel. Still, we have a special guest here from Bitcoiner Malaysia. Actually, co-founder or something that is, I don't know, maybe KF is the founder or?
No.
Okay, yeah,
I
sorry.
just joined the Bitcoiner Malaysia, even the Telegram group, just I think two months back. I was on my own all this time. I was just studying for myself. I'm just researching on my own.
Absolutely. So yeah, maybe the founder itself like Jerry, right? I mean Jerry and
Yes.
then Adam and yeah. But
Yeah.
it's good. The community is there is quite strong, and then yeah, hopefully Indonesia have Indonesia Bitcoin conference in a weeks ahead. But
Oh
still, you know,
yeah, I saw
as
that. I saw the advertisement.
absolutely, but still like online conference, you know, because Indonesia is too big, right? It cannot like catch up with everyone. So
Oh yes,
that's
yes.
why there is no like in person meet up. But yeah, hopefully even cross in the future. But before I
Well,
gotta start with the
next time you
video,
can narrow it down to a small city first. Start with a city first.
yeah, that's why it's like a long way to go, right? We still develop
Yes.
our community. That's why it's better to have like one-on-one conversation like this. So before I gotta start with the video, I mean, like, can you share a little bit more about yourself and yeah, how you get into Bitcoin rabbit hole for the very first time?
Actually, I heard about it incredibly, I think about 10 years ago, but I don't know anything about it. I just heard the name only. I thought it's just some games that people play on the internet. So what a waste, right? Okay, that's fine. Then when it comes to 2017, I heard about it again from another coffee guy, and he thought he was mentioning to me about mining. But when I asked him about it, he also cannot explain it properly. So when he cannot explain properly, then I also after a while, I also don't care what it is. In fact, at the time, I think the Malaysia exchange just starting. So I thought I put 1,000 ringgit into the exchange. And right after I put into it, the exchange get frozen by the government. Wow, that was so scary, you know. Then I forget about it. I think I lost it already. I don't care about it anymore. So of course after that the market crashed, right? You know, it's only end of last year when I find what is happening? Wow, Bitcoin become very big story. Then I checked back, my 1,000 ringgit now become like 6,000 ringgit. Then I thought, then there's a lot of people talking about it, and at first I'm not very comfortable with it also because I worried during the time when people are talking about it, you just imagine there's a lot of retirees, people who are older. Imagine they work for 40 years, 50 years or like they save money, they don't know where to put, and then people tell you, oh, you put this thing in, the thing will go up, things will go up, price will go up. So I thought it was quite dangerous because people don't know what is it all about. They just put money into it, and then what if it crash, is it? So I was very skeptical also at the time. But then I thought, it's pandemic. I got a lot of time on my hand, don't know what to do. So I thought
Yeah.
I might as well do a proper study and do a proper research on it. Well, then since I get into it, I think I've been studying like 3,000 hours put into it. Now, my background long time ago, I'm in the IT field, but not the very deep technical part. So I have a bit of exposure to it. And then after that, what about 12 years ago, I started in the coffee business. So have nothing to do with IT anymore. But the good thing about the background is because of the things that I know a bit, so researching for it is a bit easier. At least I can understand it better. I can imagine if a person start from zero and don't know anything about computers and IT, that will be a bit harder actually.
Yeah.
So after 1.5 years deep study, so I'm quite comfortable with what is Bitcoin, what is the future, and why. All the important part is how and why. When people say, sometimes people say, oh, Bitcoin cannot be destroyed. It's just a word, right? People just say something, Why,
Yeah.
why would you believe that? Now the question is, if you say it cannot be destroyed, what is important to know is why it cannot be destroyed, right?
Yeah.
If you say it cannot be stolen, cannot be confiscated, you have to understand why it cannot be. Otherwise, it's just somebody saying something. People say things all the
Absolutely.
time. There's a lot of scams out there after all. So understanding the reasons behind it is absolutely important. And once a person understands the reason behind it, then you can actually evaluate your own risk, right? Whether is it risky or is it not? What's your risk profile? When you look into the future, is there hope? Is this something that you think is sensible, right? So this
Yeah.
is what got me into it. So I did do a lot of study on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because yeah, if become too technical, people have no interest in it. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
some yeah, meme coin and people go attract a lot, but they lose a lot of money. But yeah, that's the reality. I mean, people buy not because of the logic, because of the emotion, right? So that's why
Yes.
we need
It's
to educate.
actually that is very
Yeah,
dangerous. That one, even for us who understands it, who if I think I don't worry about it when the price falls because we know it's inevitable and it
yeah,
will go up. But because I understand the reason behind it, but if you do not understand, all you look at it is a price. So imagine you go and put 100,000 in during the time when it was last November, and then
yeah,
after it's fallen 70%. Don't tell me
yeah,
you are not afraid. Any
absolutely.
normal user who, when you look at that, they will think the best thing is cut losses.
Yeah,
But
cut
if you
losses
cut losses,
70%.
you lost all
Yeah,
your money, it's gone, right? But
absolutely.
if you don't understand, why in the world are you keep holding on to it? Because the next question is, it may go to zero, That's what people will think,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see.
yeah. Especially
So
with
people who don't
altcoins.
understand dangerous.
Yeah,
Also, yes.
Bitcoin, yeah, fall maybe like 70%. But if Bitcoin fall 70%, altcoin is going to zero.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
it can go way worse. But that is for people who know. I'm saying that if you do not know, even if you look at the numbers, nobody, if you don't understand Bitcoin, there's no way you will hold on. You will clear off already. It's like you put 100 ringgit in, you already lost 70. Why you want to lose another 30, right? You clear off. Then you
yeah.
really lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much about the whole value proposition of Bitcoin, right? So that people
Mm.
can take care of their financial, right? Not only financial, but their freedom actually. And then
Yeah,
yeah,
and you need a
how it
longer view, longer view.
longer view, absolutely. And
Yes.
then yeah, how I mean, yeah, you said that mentioned a bit about Bitcoin rabbit hole. I mean, what was the aha moment? I mean, like when you say, oh, Bitcoin only or not any other shit.
Actually
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Everybody who start, you will dabble with other things. So wow, I
yeah, I
mean,
know. Yeah, it's okay.
XRP sounds so cool. It's like X-Men, wow, XRP, wow, looks so cool. Wow, Ethereum, all of them sounds better.
Yeah,
They have a more a cooler technical name. It just sounds so cool. But uh, as we studied about Bitcoin along with everything else, then you will find that once you find the uniqueness of Bitcoin, then you find that wait a minute, the rest of the thing actually they don't fulfill. They only fulfill part of it. Everybody have a part of it. If if Bitcoin got 10 points, everybody else got 5, 6, 3, 7. But that is all they have, you see. The entire thing is not stable if you are looking at it critically.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much because yeah, that's the unique value proposition of Bitcoin, and then yeah, the others is like Federal Reserve with I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of like Federal Reserve, right? When they can print their own token and they become their issuer. So that's why it's not sustainable in many ways, right? So yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah.
about it. And then yeah, last time we met that in the Bitcoin meetup. Maybe yeah, can you like share the origin of the Bitcoiner meetups? I mean, it's like in your coffee shop as well, right? I mean, the meetup. I
Yes.
mean, mm,
Actually, that time I just joined the Telegram group like for like 2 weeks. Then we just said that, hey, I happen to have a cafe and they're looking for a place to meet up. So that is how it started. In fact, I think I was at the cafe was the second time. This is the first time I met any of these guys. All the time when I was studying Bitcoin, I'm just talking to myself basically. I don't
yeah,
know anybody, nobody talks to. The only person whom talked to me about it is a all coiners, all coiners, everything is
yeah,
included. So after a while, I'm get tired of that also. Yeah, this is quite boring to me. All the NFT thing actually is quite boring. It's only when you really study Bitcoin, then you find, hey, that is there's a fundamentals foundation behind it that is relevant. It is sound. It is coherent. We call it. Uh, so that is what happened. Then we have the meetup. The meetup. I mean, it's also not bad. It's about 20 over person turns up.
yeah,
I think to many people it's still new so
yeah,
the structure was not very maybe didn't plan properly. And then of course the thing we'll learn. Sometimes you can have topic that's too simple, then the seasoned Bitcoiner will be bored about it. Too difficult, almost nobody understand what you're talking about. Also, we get bored about it. So there's a need of a
Absolutely.
balance of how to structure it well. You know?
Yeah, maybe there's the better way to do it after, maybe in the next meetup, right? Because the last time we met, I mean, like in the last meetup was, it's not. I'm not saying like not managerly. I mean, like
Manage well.
manageable. But what I'm saying is that it's maybe the structure itself. We need to like separate between the noob and the OG, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Some of
maybe
the very deep
the
technical stuff very hard.
yeah, absolutely. Because there is some critic as well, and some people where they too much technical, so that's why that's what been mentioning before. I mean about the adoption itself need to you know uh, get to the whole level. I mean from the bottom to the top, right? So that's why it's better for us to maybe in the next meetup with better, maybe like we need to make like curriculum. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, we are planning the next one coming soon. Next week.
Yeah,
At first we thought maybe we're gonna have not too many topics, just a lesser topic, and then more free time you can chit chat. Then when you can more free time, free and easy, right? So if you are very technical, you want to talk about something super difficult, you go and talk to that guy who is the same link, Maybe if you have two programmers want to talk about it, go ahead, you see. And then maybe you have some newbie who want to experience, okay, how is it like if you want to set up a wallet, how hard it is. In fact, before the last meetup, I purposely quickly set up the lightning payment thing. But after now this 1 month have passed, so more things have been put in. In fact, of course, not just the meetup, but even for the cafe itself, I'm trying to put in small exposure for the customer. So now we have a clear menu there to tell you that Bitcoin is accepted, right? Then the next one I'm going to put in is if you're going to pay your Bitcoin, I give you a 5% discount.
yeah, absolutely.
and then and then I'm trying to the Lightning Network is actually very very cool things that you can play around. It's quite powerful. So I'm trying to do something like you can do a QR code. I'm gonna put there free Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because you can just point the thing there, you can withdraw. So okay, it's a small thing. It's just for fun to play. You can withdraw like 200 sets. But imagine 200 sets is free. And we shouldn't look down on 200 sets because 10 years ago that two pizza is 20,000 Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
You never know what happens in 10 years time.
Yeah, and that's the powerful thing about Lightning as well. I had a podcast with Adam as well about Lightning, but still, I mean, the problem is that it's not about the Lightning itself. I mean, the trade-off. I mean, like right, the inbound liquidity or something like that.
Yes.
Maybe if someone, I mean, like retail businesses wanna set up Lightning, not like yourself. I mean, what should they do in the very beginning? Because I know in Indonesia it's not applicable because in Indonesia you cannot like transact with Bitcoin or like
you
that.
cannot,
But in general,
But
I
you
mean,
never know. The
what should they
legislation
do
can change.
at first in order to, I mean, like yourself. I mean, like what you've
Okay,
been doing.
like for example, I'm already have a little bit. I'm not like Adam, right? So I can't do the programming stuff, but I'm a little bit on the intermediate side. So
Okay.
I can set up I already have set up a Bitcoin node. So I have a Lightning node included. So I can actually receive payment direct to the node. And of course, then you have to deal with the liquidity. You need to learn about that. It's a very good learning process. Now, I would say that if a person who is new to this, perhaps sometimes it's also good to start on the custodial Lightning. It's not very difficult, and they are way more efficient because they have huge channel. So, well, if you're talking about a coffee shop or retail shop, a smaller one, you're paying like 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit. Then even the custodial one, even if you use the wallet of Satoshi, it's fine because right, you can always send them out at the end of the day. You don't have to hold it for long. You don't have to take any risk. The risk is not that big, I would say. It's not like you're gonna put 100,000 there. You're not doing that for cold storage. So it's just for daily sales. And in the beginning, anyway, Nobody daily sale is going to be a few thousand ringgit. You only got maybe 1 or 2 transactions. It's just an exposure. So use the easiest way to start. Just use a custodial wallet, or even some of the mobile wallet like Breeze, like Phoenix, like Blue Wallet, or even wallet of Satoshi. It's very easy to use. You just take a few couple of transactions. At the end of the day, you just transfer it out to be safe. Very, very easy. Until by the time that you say, no, every day I got 50 transactions, well, then congratulations, your business is growing. Then you can afford to spend some money on the proper hardware, to set up a proper node. If you don't know how to set up a node, I'm sure there are services, people who are willing to help you. You see? So it's not that difficult to start. If you want to start totally, let's say you're very ideal. The moment you start, you want it to be totally non-custodial, you want to have your own node. Then the entry level becomes harder. You need to know the technical first. You need to learn it and plan it. So that will take time. I've done that, and I realized how the difficulties. For example, I have no experience in Linux. For example, I totally don't know anything about it. So then, of course, it's more difficult. Then you use those Raspberry Pi, which is quite slow sometimes. That is why even now at the moment I'm actually setting up another node using Linux on a used notebook with an i5. It's quite old. It's like 5 years already, but it's very fast when you put it on even an old laptop. No, it's very fast. So I'm also learning to set up all these things, experiencing Linux for the first time. So one of the interesting stuff about it is people say once you get into the Bitcoin rabbit hole, you don't just learn about Bitcoin. You learn about finance. You learn about economics. Now you need to learn about computer science.
macro,
you need to learn about security, security, operation security, IT security, two-factor. All these things become important. Then you start to learn more. It's not just a single thing. There's philosophy behind it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, yeah, since like you mentioned, quite briefly about the yeah, manage the Lightning node from start to finish to set up in the retail businesses. But yeah, in a long way, I mean, in the long run, you said that before you have your own custodial Lightning, right? So what's
Yes.
your how your manage the custodial Lightning? I mean, like when it comes to like Bitcoin full node, you need to like have 24/7 running machine, right? But
Yes.
yeah, what is your perspective because in business you cannot like have
You
24/7
cannot go
all the
down.
time, right? Yeah.
Okay, you see, if you are running a online business, then you need to be 24/7. Then you need to set up something
Yeah.
more robust, you see. But if you're talking a retail shop, and if you're using a custodial one, it's just a mobile phone. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The mobile phone, like wallet of Satoshi, I have never seen it go down. You're making like 20 ringgit, 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit payment. It never goes down. They are so big. I mean, I think if your few hundred ringgit is the least of your concern, but it's an exposure. You can expose first thing the business itself. How is it like? Customer, how hard is it to pay? Even today, interestingly, I went. There's another guy on Telegram who say they're running a coffee fair. So they set up a booth in the shopping mall. Of course, he didn't set up the full Lightning stuff. But when I go there and support it, I say, hey, come, I buy some coffee, I pay with Lightning. So what do you do? He just showed me his wallet of Satoshi. I use my own wallet. I just make payment to him. It's very easy. He can on the spot receive it already. But if you want to do it well, then you need to think through a bit more things. The moment you have you want to be more stable, then you think through a bit more. Then eventually setting up a Lightning node for your own, you can run away. But it's not that difficult. Like I say, I mean the cost is like if you have an old notebook, it works already. You need to have a buy SSD hard disk, for example, 1 terabyte, right? And even the worst case, you don't know how to set up. Actually, setting up takes some time. I mean, when I set up the Linux, I don't know how to use. This couple of days. Then sometimes you just say you want to do something important. Just pay somebody to do it. The problem is, it's not like people asking you for a few thousand ringgit, for example. I mean, it's up to you. It depends on what do you find is comfortable.
Exactly.
But it doesn't make sense to think that I want to set up all these difficult things, but I want it to be free.
Yeah.
How is that going to happen? It's not going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, who is going to spend 3 days to go and set it up for you, especially when you're doing it for business? Right. So in the business environment, we must all learn to understand it's a win. You must have a win-win situation.
Yes.
When you do a business, you expect to make profit. So if you need a service from somebody, you have to give them some profit. How can you, in a condition, to say, I want to make profit from this, but I want the service from you, and I want it free? That doesn't make sense, though. So I
Absolutely.
always find that the philosophy is very simple. Either you put effort, or you put money, or you put both. But if you don't want to put both of them, then you better don't go anywhere, don't do anything.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
I mean, even when you study Bitcoin, you need to put effort, right?
Mm.
Like if you want to put 5,000 hours into it, then it's an effort. It's time cost, is it? If you don't want to do that, can somebody teach you or not? Can. You can string 5,000 hours into 5 hours. But then you say, I want to learn fast, I want to learn quick, I want 5 hours, but I want free. That's another problem. You don't want to pay effort, and you don't want to pay money. Then you don't learn anything. That's about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's pretty much about the retail businesses getting involved with Lightning in particular as a payment and remittance. But yeah, at the same time, yeah, maybe in the world of Republic organization, I mean, in the mass adoption, well, we can talk about that. But at the moment, at the current moment, at the particular moment, I mean, like, it's not about the struggling. I mean, it's about the some small business retailer, I mean, like they try with like a small margin, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
they want to set up this, is not I know, like they need to learn about that, but time is also money, right? They need to it's not efficient, so that they learn, but at the same time, they get incentive as well from like Shopee or like cashback or something, so that it makes the adoption getting slower over time. You know what I'm saying, right? I mean,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
It's like a chicken
What are
and
your
egg,
thoughts? I mean,
you know.
yeah. The question is that do you think that is there any other reason other than that? I mean, like in terms of why Lightning is not approached by the small retailer or something.
Okay, I don't think it's that issue at all. It's not about Lightning not being approached or cannot adopt. It's that people don't even know about Bitcoin itself. That is
Okay.
the part. So the primary first thing is education of Bitcoin first. Let's say you already know about Bitcoin. Assume you already know. Then you say, hey, how can I receive Bitcoin on my business, for example? Okay? Once you ask that question, then the answer will come into place. You already know about Bitcoin. You want to set up a business to be able to receive Bitcoin. Then the option is you can do it on chain, or you can do it with Lightning. Now, the moment you're willing already, you understand Bitcoin and you believe in it, then the next step is not difficult. Like I say, you can even start immediately and small. Just use a custodial Lightning. Start first, right?
Yeah.
Start to receive first. Then you see, hey, it's fast, it's easy. And then the next thing, how about I want to go a bit deeper? I want to set up my own node. I want it to go into my own place. Well, that's one step at a time. See? So all of our learning is accumulative. It's very hard to start from zero immediately. You are at level 7. It's going to be very difficult. So start with level 1, level 2, level 3, and as you grow a little bit more, then it will go along. I think all this adoption thing will grow naturally, organically. So you need to start with a little bit thing first, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much about the education of Bitcoin is still very minimum. But
Yes, the
what
primary
I'm
thing
saying
will be
is that
that.
like the liquidity itself, I mean, if you're not getting approach with Bitcoin, I mean, like for example, like Strike app is like inventional thing, right? I mean, you pay with cash and but convert with Bitcoin, but at the same time,
Oh,
if you
yes, yes.
convert it with Bitcoin first, you don't have cash that cash anymore, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like
Yes, I understand.
bridging from the Bitcoin world and then fiat world. I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Is maybe this
Yes.
is the problem or what?
Actually, I think the Strike app is very interesting. I mean, first thing, it gives you exposure. Suddenly, you use Strike app, you know something to do with Bitcoin, something to do with Lightning. Even if if a merchant doesn't receive Bitcoin, I take from fiat, I send it to somebody else at the background. They're using Bitcoin. They may not know about it. They may not even receive it. But for adoption's sake, when even if Strike grows very big, people will start to find that, hey, Bitcoin is a normal thing. It's nothing unusual. It's quite safe. In fact, everything is running on it. Then people will be they're not so hesitant or worries about it. But of course, I wish it in Malaysia, but it's not in Malaysia, is it? So, and this kind of company to set up, you need huge capital. It's not so easy to run the back end.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. You're talking about liquidity. Who is going to put one chunk of money there to make sure everything can flow? That is why when it comes to the custodial Lightning wallet, it's generally quite efficient because people already put one chunk of capital standing there. You get all the channel open. Of course, easy. Now, if you use your own, even you buy a Raspberry Pi, you use the Umbro, you set up a node. I've done it before. I mean, I've done it. I'm having it. I do realize that sometimes if I use it to send to certain things, certain place, it may not go through. Not to say very high percentage, we're talking about not very expensive, up to let's say 100 ringgit,
Yes,
or 200 ringgit at most, right? The success rate is about more than 80%, 80 to 90%, I would say. And that is because of my own cheap, low power node, you see. And because you want to do self-custodial, then you need to learn about liquidity, you want to open channel. Once I open the channel enough and I know where to open it, then suddenly it becomes very smooth. But when you're new, you only got one channel to somebody, and you want to make some huge payment, and the guy got no liquidity, or you got no inbound, you got no outbound, then the thing will not work. It will stop. So for a start, I would say it's easy. You start first with a custodial Lightning, and that's it. As you expose, then you can say, hey, can we do more? Then the thing will start rolling. You see.
Yeah, it start with adoption first, but at the same time, they need to get incentivized, right? If they want to use Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin,
correct.
Not really competitor. I mean, like they still have like some major, not really obstacle. I mean, like something like cashback with the credit card or something. Yeah, that's why they. People still use cheap money, they cannot like spend hard money, right? So yeah.
Furthermore, I think that merchant will not accept Bitcoin unless the market itself there's adoption. Otherwise, they won't do it unless the owner itself is a Bitcoiner like us. So we want to use it, is it? But other people, there's totally no incentive to do it. Why in the world they do that? It's totally illogical. Because other systems are so much more efficient and you don't have to think about it and you don't have to worry about it. But if you don't know about Bitcoin, why in the world you want to receive via Bitcoin, especially when you're talking about the entire month is only 3 transactions? Why? No need, no. So that will be the next stage. The first stage is still the adoption first, and you start with Bitcoiner first, people who already into it, who knows about it. Then you gradually you share out more, then people can see, get exposure. That will be the way to go, on our small role that we can play.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that's what happens, if once it take off, it take off. But at the same time, it's right now still in the adoption phase, like you said before. That's why it's not really embraced for some people, right? So that's
and then for example, like when I got chance, for example, I know somebody, some of those guys in the group who have a business, who can want to receive Bitcoin. I have done it. I buy steak from this guy, some bros. I pay with Bitcoin. I go to this place of Nyonya food and I pay with Bitcoin. Then I go and buy coffee, I pay with Bitcoin. So I try to support them a bit. But on the other hand, unless they are serious, they go and put up some signs. So everybody needs to play a little bit part. You cannot just sit there and don't do anything and wait for magic to happen. There's no magic going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because Bitcoin is still people learning about it, and there is no like magic bullet, right? It's still Bitcoin in the long run. Upper going Bitcoin session, it's gonna take place, but what the future holds. Yeah, that's pretty much about the Lightning adoption, guys. Still in the right direction in terms of adoption, but right now we still focus on the education, and that's the most important thing. And then the
education exposure.
Yeah, absolutely. But maybe the I don't want to speed up the adoption. I think it's the people like giving away their sats, right? I mean, it's like a drugs, right? If you wanna getting adopted, you need to try it first, right? I mean,
you gotta try it first. But I mean, in all this giving away, we're talking about something that's the current value is very low. It doesn't really matter. It's just an exposure. You just get to feel what is it like. You see? Like how much 200 set is like 20 cent or lesser, you know. But I mean, what is 20 cent? You spend your friend a drink is like how much already, you know. So people can exposure and then they can feel it. They can feel what is it like. So that's a good way to start.
Hmm. Yeah, because yeah, the exposure itself, it's not the key of the mass adoption, but it's the part of it. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
part
not
of it.
like
It's not the only
fundamental.
thing.
Yeah, sorry.
It's not the only thing. It's not one factor. It's just
Yeah.
you need to have
That's what
let's
I
say
meant.
five, six factor all work together, slightly improve it.
Yeah, because that's the nature of Bitcoin, right? I mean, yeah, if you give too much away with Bitcoin, it's not really the hard money, right? Because the hard
Yes.
money prevent people from giving away their money, right? I mean, to have like a low time preference, right? So
Yes,
yeah, to
exactly,
think about
exactly.
long
Yeah.
term, to think about the kids, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But interestingly, there's also another point. Okay, for example, I'm trying to set up a QR code where you can use Lightning to scan and can receive like 200 sets. Now, one of the reasons why that is important is like, how do you buy Bitcoin, for example? You know? Now, here you
yeah,
need to go to the exchange. You need to go to the
absolutely.
exchange. You need to do KYC. It's minimum 2 days. Now, if somebody is you're talking to a friend or whatever, then they are suddenly heard, hey, this is very interesting. But you cannot get it now. You cannot do it now. It's like you need to go and take 2 days. You need to go back and go and do your own scanning of your face, put in your IC. You know, so much effort before they can even do anything. Why would they do it? Right? It becomes very difficult. So, what I'm saying is, you think it's interesting? Do you know that you can get Bitcoin within 5 minutes? It's not 3 days. It's 5 minutes. You download the app, 5 minutes, you get it. Wow, they can see. Wow, it's immediate. So that will be something that may spur the interest. It's just one part of it. It's a small part of it.
Yeah, because that's the point of the adoption itself, right? I mean, if you like given not really give it away, I mean, like the lightning itself, maybe people will understand it better. I mean, in terms of like understanding, right? So
Yes, but we all know it's not one point. That thing alone is not going to work. Right?
yeah,
Just
exactly.
giving away sets over Lightning itself alone will not work. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just one part of it that build on top of another part. You build on top of another part. So when this guy first came, maybe you heard
the
about it
world is
from
complex,
someone, right?
Yeah, it's cannot like work in the one direction, right? That's why it's like
It's
been
not one
like
direction.
holistic view about it, right? So
You're right. The word is the holistic view.
yeah, absolutely. And then we last time we met, I mean, like we had a beef. I mean, like had a debate. Not really debate. I mean, like we have like some perspective, right? You said that before
Maybe it's
that
yeah.
you cannot never run. Yeah, Bitcoin is like don't trust verify, right? But at the same time, you think that we can never live in the world of trustless, right? We should like elaborate a little bit more about it. I mean, like
Okay.
maybe
Reality is okay. Sometimes when we say we use all these words that are very strong words like Bitcoin cannot be taken down, your key cannot be guessed, you know. So we are not talking about absolute. So I also throughout the time I learned how to explain it to people. Like say you communicate better to get the idea across. First thing you must understand that whatever words that we use is not it's not a mathematical absolute, right? You mean are you sure your private key cannot be guessed? Of course it can be guessed. It's just like trying to find a sand in a universe. It's mathematically possible, but you know you won't be able to get it. That's an important one. So, for example, the part about don't trust and verify is again this is not absolute. We are talking about extreme trust minimized. We should put it. It's extremely trust minimized. Now, even if, for example, how do you minimize the trust? For example, now if I ask you how many bitcoins are there in the world circulating, well, you just go online and check on the web page, right? But there's just a web page telling you, are you sure? So now, if you have your own node, You query for your own node and you can check. So you have another trust that is been minimized. You want to go level down, lesser trust. But we also realize you cannot go all the way, because if you go all the way, then you say, okay, you have a Bitcoin node, you query. The question is, did you write the software yourself? You didn't. Did you compile it yourself? Like, you are not, okay, I'm not a programmer. Did you compile it yourself? You didn't compile it yourself. You have to trust somebody, right? Now,
Yes.
even the worst case is not even if you're a programmer. They say the chip the computer runs on, you build your own chip. Are you sure there's no backdoor in the chip? How do you know there's no backdoor in the chip? Because you're trusting somebody. So in the sense, there's no 100% trustlessness. Otherwise, you won't survive in the world. You will need a bit of trust. But the ethos of Bitcoin is trust minimize. You minimize. Current system in the world is trust maximize. Every system is about trust. You have to trust the bank, you have to trust the government, you have to trust the local council. Everybody you need to trust. It's all about trust, right? So we're talking about trust minimize, not 100% absolute trustless, because that won't happen in reality.
Yeah, I know. That's why, I mean, like, there is like, maybe the movement is like too extreme. Maybe like they want to, make the government obsolete or something. But it's not gonna happen, right? I mean, we can never take down the government. I mean, we can only, the level up the playing field, right? I mean, for the longest time, it's just government become too big, right? It's not really good in many ways, but at the same time, if the people become too big, I mean, the chaos is inevitable, right? So yeah, it's
you're right. You want to spread out the power structure, level a bit of playing field. You can never 100% be level. I mean, let's say you take down the government, who's going to run it? Bitcoiners are going to run it. You think all the Bitcoiners are good people? Then I would say that maybe you don't understand human nature, right? Power corrupts, right? Absolute power will corrupt absolutely. You think you bring all the Bitcoiners together in the island, open a Bitcoin island, and everybody runs there, and there's no problem, no crime? Well, if you think so, then I don't know what to say, but that is not a reality that we can live in. But the moment you say trustless and trust minimized, by the way, you don't need to trust the Bitcoiner, right? Are you going to put your trust in them? It don't make sense also, right? So you talk about trust minimized, not trustless at all. If you, on the other hand, that's why I say I wouldn't be so pushed strongly. You must take down the government, take down the national currency, because when you do that, before you do that, they clamp down on you already, right? I would think the better strategy is, let's say for example in Malaysia. I mean, Indonesia, you say you cannot even transact. In Malaysia, it's quite friendly for the moment, right? They don't even do capital gain tax on you, so you are free to go and participate to transact as you wish. So you just slowly let it grow, peacefully let it grow. When it grow until to the point, let's say 50% of the population have it already, which politician is going to bring it down? They do not want to get elected, is it? Right? Now, when you have the adoption already, when you have a huge number, then you don't even need to mention about taking down the national currency, because everybody's having it. But when you are just 1% and you keep telling the government, we will take you down, what do you think the government is going to do? Either they ignore you because they think you're dumb, but if they take you seriously, then you're dipshit. So what's the point, right? You will never reach more than 1% because they clamp down on you already. And in the environment that is, let's say, for example, here it's quite peaceful, so you just continue to participate, continue to expose, continue to engage and educate, then let the number grow, let the users grow. That will be easier, I would think. But this is debatable. Of course, different country with different scenario. I mean, if you're already in a country like North Korea, what else can you do? You're already a slave anyhow, you know? Maybe then you might as well take them down. I don't know, right? But different scenario will have its own different things. So we have to, sometimes we have to think through a bit carefully and not to be too extreme.
Yeah.
You can be extreme in some extreme circumstances. But when you're not in the extreme circumstances and you push for extreme environment, it may not work out. For example, if you be forced to it, you didn't produce a chip to run your computer, how are you going to run the Bitcoin node? You build your own chip first, right? Then you're going to compile the code, right? If you haven't done all this thing, what you're talking about, trustless, it's not trustless. Trust minimized, but Bitcoin is extremely trust minimized. It's not a little. It's not in the ballpark, it's not in the ballpark of the fiat, It's not even in the same country, it's not in the same continent. It's across the other side of the world. It's so far away, It's big difference.
Yeah, the big difference between trustless and trust minimized, right? Bitcoin maybe is not completely eliminating the third party, but it's like making the third party more verifiable, right? They don't, maybe misuse the behavior, right? So that's why it's like
exactly.
That's pretty much about it. Because for the longest time, we only trust something. So someone gonna take care of it, but we can never know, right? They become too big. Is the basic manager come to fruition, right? So yeah. That's pretty much about it. And then that's what I worry about. If like you mentioned before about political or something. If Bitcoin becomes too big, I mean, like hyper Bitcoinization and Bitcoin community is like the maybe is have more population than religion. I mean, they become more get politicized, right? I mean, maybe Bitcoiner become one political party. I don't know, like happened with WikiLeaks. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, can Bitcoin, I mean, like become Bitcoin community become like political party? But if
I don't know, not so easy, I would say, because everything when you bring them into power, they get corrupted. I mean, it's not the Bitcoin doesn't care, but the humans are all corrupted, right? So if you give them more power, well, the idea is to reduce the power level of playing field. If you keep putting, now you bring one whole Bitcoin, one whole group, every chunk here all over there. So by the way, the world doesn't your life doesn't consist of just finance. There's other area of principles that you may think is important. Maybe your freedom to worship maybe is important to you. Maybe family unit is important. There's other things as well. So what if you have a party that is Bitcoiner, but they go against everything of your other principles, right? they could go against every other principle of yours. Then how are you gonna choose? So may not be as straightforward, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a political party is like too complex. If Bitcoin can approach to that level, I think Bitcoin has more power than I mean, is become threat. I mean, like US dollar or anything become a major threat, right? And as maybe like top 1% maybe don't like it, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I would say the best thing is for Bitcoin to grow up to a point of the population where all the politicians will ignore it. They do not want to disturb you, because if they disturb you, they don't get elected. That will be good enough for you. They just leave it alone.
Nature lah. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, they leave it alone, and then Bitcoin is something that you can use as long as you can use it freely, right? That's up to you. If you force them to go and make laws, right? I tell you, anybody who make laws, they will always try to make more. They're not going to make less. You may think that now all the Bitcoiners are anarchists. The moment they get into power, they may be the opposite. They may start to think, now I need to set up all the laws. Yeah, because this human nature has never changed for how many thousand years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Yeah, guys, the topic has become more I don't know, political, but we gotta stop right here because it's already 1 hour already. Before I end this interview, I mean, like, just for fun, for the channel, guys. Maybe in the next couple of before halving lah. I mean, do you have any like specific target of Bitcoin price prediction? I mean, like 100K or 200K? I mean, yeah, for the next 5 years lah. Yeah.
Impossible to guess. I mean, I'm not very good at guessing numbers. If I am,
just for fun, just for fun. Yeah, just for fun.
Okay, I mean, halving is another 1.5 years from now. Well, I do think it will go back to all-time high at least.
After halving. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that one is pretty sure. If you go for a longer horizon, then we are Bitcoin. We know it's inevitable. Right? The inevitable, I tell all my friends is you have something that is invented by human that regardless of what is the demand, the supply can never increase.
Yeah.
When you have in this environment, you will know in the long run, now the price doesn't go down, where do you think it goes? There's only one direction, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin is only one direction, is number go up technology, right? NGU.
Yeah, as long as you don't look at it in the short term.
Yeah, for the long term, right, guys? It's not like speculation. It's only like saving account, right? It's not like investing, right? So that's
Yeah,
pretty much
and
about it.
then people who complain about the price volatility, right? Now
Yeah.
they also very regret, because this last 3 months it didn't move. It's a
Absolutely.
flat. Wow, don't you think it's
Yeah.
stable?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then they don't want it stable now. They want it to go up.
Yeah, I would rather have, like, in Bitcoin, even like drawdown like 70%, but inflation make Bitcoin like local currency inflation. I mean, like Indonesia rupiah. Make Bitcoin, is the hope, because yeah, even though like the drawdown like 70%, but still up in against the local currency, right? So that's pretty much.
Oh, the local currency is bad. I mean, but we buy things from
Yeah, it's
Singapore, wow,
like pure shitcoin, right? Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it just keep go. Hey, by the way, that is really one direction. The direction is only one direction, It doesn't
Yeah,
go up like this, Especially for ringgit, it doesn't go up like that. There's only one direction.
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Okay, thank you so much, KF, for your time. It's been an honor to be here, guys. If you're interested about KF and is maybe like coffee shop, maybe wanna come to Malaysia, I will share a link description, and leave a like and
Yes.
subscribe to our channel. Yeah.